Now we have Fabian Dittrich, and he is CEO and founder of Helpando.it. And previously he worked as a software development in startups in Spain, in Great Britain, in Germany, Chile. And now he has several blogs, several websites, and the theme of his report, the topic of his report is how I ran my company from a Land Rover Defender while crossing the South American continent. Thank you very much for joining us. We are very happy to see you. I have already presented you, but you can add something about yourself, and please start on your report, how I ran my company from a Land Rover. Sounds wonderful.
All right, where can I switch the slides? Oh yeah, here we go. And the first one should show up here, I guess. Okay, and switching. Can you just tell me how to switch to the next slide? Is it the plus button? No, it's not that. Okay, it's just the arrow down. Okay, I see. All right, so thanks for the invite. Welcome everyone. My name is Fabian Dittrich. Here on the right top, you can see my contact details, either fabiandittrich.com or on Twitter, it's Fabian Dittrich. I'm from Germany, from Berlin, and the rest comes in my presentation. So I'm going to talk about how I run and I ran in the past my company from this car that you can see here, a Land Rover Defender. Let me start with a story. So this is about 1 year ago when my business partner and another friend, we ran our company from this Land Rover, and we are totally stuck in the sand. This was a critical moment because we had 2 hours left to make it to an internet connection, because we had a very important phone call, a go live call with the online casino in Las Vegas who paid us $15,000 for an app that we developed for them, and we had no idea how to get to the internet. And there was a moment where they would switch from the old app to the new app, so it was very critical. This is my business partner, Dominic. He's from Bucharest in Romania. And this is Vin, who, while we drove through the desert, found actually a bone in the desert and put it in his hair. And you can see here, we were badly stuck in the sand. But finally we made it because we used what you can see there in the front of the car, which is a mechanical device to pull you out of situations like this. And we found a little tree trunk to get out of the sand, and then raced through the desert and made it to an internet cafe. This was another problem we had on the way. The engine overheated. But finally we made it, and we went into the middle of the desert in a small village where actually there were 2 internet cafes next to each other. And here's Dominic in one of the internet cafes, and I'm in the one next to it because we didn't want to use all the bandwidth. And as you can see here, there's plenty of kids in the backgrounds playing Counter-Strike and listening to loud reggaeton music. So every time when we were not talking, we were anxiously pushing the mute buttons on our headphones so the client wouldn't be irritated by the sounds of war and the kids playing Counter-Strike. And here I'm looking astonishingly to the right because there was actually chicken running around in this cyber cafe. But after 20 minutes, the whole call was over. The client was happy. And we made $15,000 from an internet cafe in the desert, somewhere in the middle of Peru, with chicken running around, and us not having took a shower for 3 days, wearing flip-flops and Bermudas and bones in our hair. But it worked out. And while I was sitting there, I thought, wow, this is amazing. And I had this mental video playing in my head where I was zooming out gradually out of the cyber coffee, and I saw us sitting there, and I zoomed out more, and I saw the place at the Pacific Ocean where we actually slept the night before. And I zoomed out more, and I saw the Nazca line. This is in Peru next to the cyber coffee. And then I zoomed out more, and I saw Las Vegas, where I went into the office, online casino, and past the receptionist, and I saw 2 guys wearing suit and tie sitting at a conference room, just having talked to me. And I zoomed out more and saw what Carl Sagan once called the pale blue dot, our Earth. And I thought, this is absolutely amazing. And I went in my head through the situations, like like going to Jamaica in an airplane with Wi-Fi and then finishing a data migration while descending in Ocho Rios in Jamaica, or this where we had an engine overheating problem in Morocco, but we're able to do a call with a company in San Francisco. This is also scenes of how I worked in the past months. This is also Morocco. Here, this is a typical situation of my life at the moment, standing at a gas station and having this little stand-up desk from where I can work. Here's Cartagena in Colombia, a hostel roof, and so on. So this was typical situations in the last 24 months while working from this car, from deserts, jungles here in Peru, and the car. Now, there was a time when all of this wasn't really possible. We were growing up at a place and usually did what our father did, and we died in the city where we were grown up. But now through the internet, we don't have to go hunting on the fields anymore. We can actually use technology to sit in front of the computer every day. But technology used in the proper way or in a different way allows us to actually be free and live a life freer to what makes us happy or satisfied. And because I was very interested in this topic, how technology can give us more freedom to live a life more aligned to human nature or far away from the 9-to-5 cubicle thing, my friends and me, we started a project called Startup Diaries. So about a year and a half ago, we packed up our business, bought this Land Rover in Buenos Aires in Argentina, and had two missions. One mission was to run our company from this Land Rover, and the other mission was to find people on the way who redefine work, right? People who are far away from 9-to-5, who use technology and tools to work differently. Maybe they come on a skateboard to the office, they work in co-working spaces. So we went through South America and interviewed those people and made a video documentary about them, which you can find on startupdiaries.org. Now, just to give you a little background how this worked out, in Berlin, all we had to do was working 8 to 10 hours per day, and we had daily calls with customers in the US and UK. All our customers are in the United States or in the UK. So we worked doing the services that we offer, but also accounting, the contracts, and the invoices. But in South America, it was all pretty different. The three first points here are the same, but we also had to drive 20,000 kilometers through Argentina, Uruguay, Chile, Peru, Ecuador, and Colombia. We had to deal with car problems. We had to edit and publish videos. We had to contact and interview people. We had to do the social media work and show up in the news. Now, this was a big challenge because when we came to South America, the whole infrastructure that we were used to was just gone. No more office, no more desks, no more screens, no more restaurants, no more stable Wi-Fi. Basically just what you see here. And the thing is that still the whole thing worked out really well. And it wasn't easy in the beginning, but I tell you about the challenges and how we actually made it. So let's start with the logistics. One thing is, of course, sleeping. And as you can see here, there's a foldable roof where two people can sleep in the upper part. And here we see Vin, our friend, sleeping in the lower part. So we were with three people fit in here. It's pretty dense, but it works out. You can also see, yeah, this is Vin sleeping in the lower part. You can see there's solar panels on the roof. So these solar panels constantly charge two batteries, which are below the driver's seat. And we had 3 MacBooks, 3 iPhones, 3 iPods, 2 cameras, and a bunch of different batteries that we constantly had to charge, and the fridge. But we were able to charge all this using these 2 solar panels and the 2 batteries. There's always good sun in South America, so that worked out. Of course, a huge topic is connectivity. Everything we do requires the internet. We work with a cloud-based software and offer services for this cloud-based software. So everything we do requires internet. But I lived in Chile in 2004, and since then went back about 4 times, every 2 years basically. And every time I go there, the internet connection is just much better. it's not only that Wi-Fi is more here on some roof of a hostel in Cartagena, Colombia, or in nearly every petrol station in Chile. It's also that the 3G connections are much better. So here we are in the desert hunting the internet connection, and I think you're familiar probably with the edge and the 3G and the 4G speed of internet. And the process is always, you get into a new country, you buy for something like $2 to $10, you buy a prepaid SIM card, which usually has like 500 megabytes or 1 gigabyte of data already, and then you can work with this. And just one anecdote, how good the internet got in Chile. I was in a bus going from Santiago de Chile to Valparaiso, and I forgot that I had a call with a customer in San Francisco over Skype. So I was able to use my $3 SIM card to make this call in a moving vehicle. So I think it's only a couple of years, and then everywhere we have 3G or 4G internet speed and can basically do our work from everywhere, which is already kind of possible. But I also did the same trip in Africa and went from Berlin to Congo, and there were places where I couldn't work pretty much. But it's getting there. It's just a matter of time, and I think we can do this from everywhere. Now, of course, this is a very handy technique. Here we are sitting in a taxi in Buenos Aires, and this blue bar, this blue small bar you see here at the top of the screen of my phone means that you're using the phone's connection on your MacBook, which is called tethering. We also have data. We do data migrations. So we help customers, let's say, to switch from Salesforce to Zendesk, which are two cloud-based tools. And many customers want to migrate their data. Now, sometimes that can mean that 10 gigabytes of data have to be read from one place and then written into another place. Now, of course, we can't do that with our prepaid cards. We can't do this in the hostel. It takes too long time. But what we do is we have a server in the US, which has a high bandwidth and big data hard drive. And we just remote control this server using our slow phone connection. And this is how we solved the problem of big data operations, by using a remote control server, which is somewhere local in the US. Of course, there were phases when we had no internet, but we learned to really like these phases, because sometimes it's really great to not have internet also for your business. One thing is, when I write code to solve a problem, and that code might not be very reusable. It's usually what programmers call spaghetti code. But when you're driving through the desert 6 hours and you know that there's nothing else you can do, you just write better code, and you look at the code in a different way because you have more time. It's the same with emails that you never really respond to, because they require more time, and there's other low-hanging fruits that you can respond to first. But if you have no internet, then you just do it. There's no interruptions when you have no internet, no Facebook, no Bing sounds when a new email comes in. And it really doesn't matter if you read an email at the minute it comes in, or if you take 2 or 3 times per day where you then just read all the emails. So we really appreciated these offline phases, and it changed how we work, and made us work way more efficiently. Now, of course, work overload was a huge deal, because before we worked 8 to 10 hours, and now we only had 2 or 3 hours for the same work that we did before, because we had to do startup diaries on the side. And how did that work? We went from 8 hours of work to 3 hours of work doing the same workload. And I have a lot of say about this. Just let's be quick because time is running. 1 hour we saved because we just get rid of the 9 to 5 mindset, right? It's this thing that Tim Ferriss, 4-Hour Workweek, talks about. If you know that you can leave the office at 5, it doesn't matter how long your task takes, you stretch it. If you finish in 2 hours, you will stretch it until it's 5, and then you leave the office, because you can't leave before anyway. But if you know that either you have time pressure, or that if you finish your work, you can jump into a waterfall in South America, you just work more focused. And I think that saved us an hour of time. Also, time pressure was a huge deal. You know, if you know that you only have 1.5 hours of internet before you get into the desert, and then you have no internet for 10 hours, you just really work way more focused to get things done, because you know you have no internet. And then I think we saved 2 or 3 hours using the right tools. And I'm not going into the details here. I'm just showing some. This is the tools we use on a daily basis. Trip mode is something that wasn't mentioned before. I think it allows you to actually, it shows you all apps that are using the internet, and then you can enable internet access for them or not. So let's say you have a data plan with a 3G prepaid SIM card, where you actually pay for your megabytes, you don't want to download a 1 gigabyte Dropbox file. So trip mode would show you that Dropbox is downloading data, but you can then deactivate it. So you can say, whenever I'm not using a stable connection, these are the apps that I want to allow to use my data connection, which is a very handy thing. And just one other thing, because I think everybody knows the other tools, Calendly is really useful to schedule calls. We do 2 or 3 calls a day. Usually that takes 4 or 5 emails to synchronize with the customer because you don't know the time zone, you don't know when he's available, you have to check your availabilities and so on. It's like 4 emails. Now with Calendly, you just send one link to the customer and then the customer sees the slots in her or his time zone and can then choose a date, and it automatically goes into your Google Calendar, is then blocked, and no one else can book a meeting there. And that's very useful. Now let's wrap it up. With Startup Diaries, we went traveling to basically meet people who redefine work. But while we did Startup Diaries, we redefined work ourselves. And if I had to sum up the whole experience in one picture, it's this. It's creative adaptability. It's accomplishing your objectives without having the necessary infrastructure. In this case, the objective is that the MacBook charges itself with a broken charger. And it doesn't matter if that means you have to use duct tape and the tap of a broken bottle. The objective is that it charges itself. The objective is also that the project finishes in time and that the client is happy. But it doesn't matter, even if that means you have to finish the project in a desert cyber coffee in the middle of the Peruvian desert with chicken running around and kids listening to Counter-Strike. The only thing that matters is that it's done. And it's really exciting times that we are living in. And of course, the idea of remote work is nothing new, but it's always more accepted, and the technology is getting better in all around the world. And with this movement, there's a new philosophy about work. It's getting away from a particular quantity of hours that have to be done per day and putting more focus on productivity and finish things in time to have more of a day and to live life more. And, our modus was never 9 to 5 in South America. It was just get it done, but it never looked like 9 to 5. It never looked the same any day, but it definitely didn't look like 9 to 5. So work is not a place anymore. And if we realize that work is not a place anymore, then a whole world of possibility opens to us. And I hope that what I just talked about is a little bit of inspiration how this world can look like. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your experience, and I think you made it just more appealing for those who are here right now, talking about these chickens running around and making thousands of dollars while them running around. It was very interesting, and the illustrations were perfect. We really enjoyed what you showed to us, though probably it proved one more time that it's easier to be a digital nomad when you are a man. I don't want to be a sexist, but I saw it on the website. There was one guy, digital nomad, who said, "Thanks God I'm a guy. It's easier for me. It's it's less dangerous for me, and I don't." More convenient because I'm a guy. I don't know if you could agree with that. Unfortunately, we do not have time to ask questions right now, but if we have, if we have questions on the bottom, probably you could answer them. Thank you again for joining us today. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.